This is the Roulette Master, and I am so excited today to introduce to you an incredible new roulette system called the Quiet Confidence Roulette System by Raymond. He says that you can play stress-free and really enjoy yourself and make money all night long. That sounds fantastic to me, and today we're going to test his incredible new system against one that you guys are raving about, and that is the Rule of Two by Charles Blackley in a head-to-head matchup today. And man, I've heard some amazing comments, even from Kentucky White, who said he would play this system as is. And he says Charles really gets the game of roulette. And I can't wait to share with you the Rule of Two and then Quiet Confidence in a head-to-head matchup today. Let's get started. So we're going to start with the Rule of Two, and we're going to bet on all the double streets except for the one that hit last. So let's go ahead and do that. And that's a small part to this system. That's a $50 total bet to start. And let's go ahead and spin. And here we go. Can't wait to see how much money both of these systems make today. And that is a 2 black. Okay, and until we have a loss, we don't use the Rule of Two. Let's just rebet and spin, but we have to adjust the bet. So we're going to take the one off of the one that just hit and then place it on the other one and spin. So we're always betting on everything except for the last double street that hit. And look at that, though. That's a 2 black. So we're going to get right into the recovery process. And what you do with this system is you start out by just doubling the bet. So we're going to do that first. And then once we get a win, we're going to start peeling off one of the double streets. So let's go ahead and do that. That's a 28 black. Okay, that's a win. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove the one that just hit. Just like that. And then we're going to spin again. And you have to complete this two-part cycle, the Rule of Two, before you reset. So we lost again. And when that happens, this is what's really cool about this system. We don't stay with the bets that we have now. What we do is we go ahead and we double the bet, but then we add one back in again. So you can see these ones have 40 on them, that we're going to add 40 to this one. And then we're going to start the Rule of Two again. So we're back to 5. So every time that we get a loss while we're trying to recover, we go back to the start again. And we have to get 2 wins. So there's a win right there. And now we're just going to remove that one that won. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we're going to spin again here with 4 double streets. And if we get 2 in a row, if we get 1 at 5 and 1 at 4, we reset. That's a 25 red. And we got the win. So now you can see we're back up again, and we're going to restart, and we're going to bet on everything except for that 25 double street. So let's go ahead and do that and spin. And here we go. And it was amazing to hear in the comments from Kentucky White that he really enjoyed this system and thought it was one of the best ones he's ever seen on the channel. That is really, you don't hear that too much from Kentucky White. So I really appreciate that. And that was a really nice comment to Charles Blackley. So let's go ahead now, and we'll go ahead and remove that one that hit last. And let's start making some money at base level again. We're up $30. Let's go ahead and spin. And I think this is about the best recovery method I've ever seen for 30 numbers. And it's pretty cool. So that is a $10 win. We're up $40. We're going to remove the one that hit last there. And we're going to move it over here and spin. Here we go. Let's see what we get here. All right, that is a 17 black. And we lost. So again, you just double the bet and spin. And then once we get a win, we remove one of these double streets. And we need to get 2 in a row to reset. This is the first of 2. And there it is. So we got the win there. So now we remove that one that just hit. And then we spin, and this is the 2 out of the Rule of Two. And if we get this one, we reset. That is a 1 red. And we got it, so we reset. And now we're at $50. We're going to be betting on everything except for that double street that just hit. And let's go ahead and spin. And one really cool thing about this is a lot of times you get a lot of wins before you even get into recovery with this system. And let's see if we can do that now, because you can get a ton of wins in a row with 30 numbers sometimes. Let's take out that one that just hit. Move it over here and spin. And here we go. And I can't wait to share with you the new Quiet Confidence Roulette system coming up. It looks fantastic. And it looks like a really, really smart, efficient roulette system. There's another win. We're up $70. Let's go ahead and remove the 24. And let's do that. And then put it over here and spin. All right, let's see how many wins we can get in a row here at base level. And that's a 3 red. That's a nice win. So we're up $80 now. And again, this is more like what is normal for 30 numbers. Usually you get a lot more wins than losses. And let's take advantage of that now and get our profits up. Here we go. That's a 21 red. That's a nice win. We're up $90 now. And again, normally you're going to see this a lot with this system. You're going to get a lot of wins. So let's move those bets, keep them at base level, and let's spin. That's a 12 red. It's another nice win. We're up $100 now. So now we're starting to really see some profits, and let's keep it going. Here we go, and let's spin. And let's see what we get here. That's a 4 black. And that's a nice win there. We're up $110. And we're going to go ahead and remove the one that just hit and add the other one back in and spin. If you want to make a lot more profit with a little more risk, you can go into you can go ahead and remove a bet after every win and then try to get 2 on all of these spins. However, I think it's a lot safer. We're up $120 already. I think it's a lot safer to go ahead and only do that in the recovery process. But you have that choice. And again, if you were going to do it that way, you would remove and go back to 4 after every win. And then if you lost, you would have to double up, go back to 5, and start the rule of 2 again. So there is a little more risk involved if you do it that way. We're up $130. And let's go ahead and remove that one that just hit and add it in over here. So this is a safer way to do it, where you're just only trying to do that in the recovery process, and then you're just enjoying the wins at base level here. Okay, that's another win. We're up $140. Let's go ahead and remove this one right here. And I'm sorry, what am I doing? We got to add this one back in. So I was just talking about doing it on every spin, even when you win, and then I almost did it there. So let's go ahead and just keep enjoying the winning here. And that's a 34 red. Okay, then just as I say that, we lose. But let's go back into the recovery process now. So we're just going to double up and spin. And once we get a win, we'll remove that double street that just hit. That's a 27 red. And that's a win, so we'll remove that one. And the important thing to remember is that if you lose in the recovery process, and now we just removed that one that just hit, and this is the second one that we need to get to reset. Anytime you lose, you go back to 5 double streets, so you do not stay at 4 if you lose. And that's a 25 red, and we lost again. So now this is a really important part, guys. We're going to double up, but then you see what we have on these. We have 40 on each. So now we're going to have 40 on this one. And anytime you lose in the recovery process, you just go ahead and you go back to 5 double streets and double the bet. So here we go. That's a 25 red. And my goodness, that hit 3 times in a row in that double street. So again, we just doubled the bet and spin. And we should get a win here pretty soon. Let's see what we get here. We have a lot of coverage here. And that should be a win there at 17 black. And now we're going to have to remove one of those, the one that just hit, and then get the rule of 2. So let's go ahead and spin at 320 total bet here. And that was a lot of losses. Let's see what that did to the recovery amount. And that's a 15 black. And we lost again. My goodness. Okay, so we're going to double up again. But remember, then we have to add the other one back in. So that's at 160. So let's add 160 in right here. That looks a little different because I used a different chip, but it's the same amount. And then we're going to go ahead and spin, and we're going to start the recovery process over again. This is a $2,000 bankroll system, and I've never had this many losses with this one. Let's see what happens once we recover. And there's a win right there. So let's go ahead and remove the one that just hit. And then we need the rule of 2 here. We need to win 2 of these in a row, 1 at 5 and then 1 at 4 double streets. Here we go. Okay, that's a 26 black. Okay, that's a $320 win. We're back up again. Okay, so if you lose that many times, it does set you back a little bit. So let's go, but we're still up. That's the good thing. So we're going to bet on everything except the one that hit last year. And We're up 70. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you that other way of playing where you can make money faster. So let's go ahead and do that. I figured I'd show it to you both ways. We have plenty of time to test this here, and let's go ahead and spin. So this way you would remove 1 every time you win, and then you'd need the rule of 2 each time. But we lost that one, so either way we have to go ahead and double the bet on this one. So let's go ahead and do that and spin. And here we go. But we wouldn't double the bet if we just had won. That's a 22 black, and that's a win. So now we need to remove the one that just hit, and then go ahead and spin, try to get the rule of 2 right here. And here we go. That's a 19 red, and we lost. So that means we doubled the bet, but then we add 1 back in. You can see they're at 40, so we add 40 back in. And we go, anytime you lose in the recovery process, you go back to the start of the rule of 2. And this is 1 of 2 right here. That's a 25 red. And there's 1 win. We're going to go ahead now, and we're going to remove the one that just hit. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let's go ahead and take that out now. And then if we get the rule of 2 here, and we win the second one, then we will recover, and we can start over. And that's a 31 black. And we got the win, so now we're back up 80 bucks. Now I'm going to share with you that way of making money faster. If you want to do that, every time I show this, I'm going to show both ways. But I think it's a little bit safer to wait till you have a loss to recover. But now let's go ahead and do it that way for a few goes here and just show you how that works. So basically, if you get a win here and you do it this way, you would remove, each time you get a win, you would remove the one that hit. And you would only do that once because it's the rule of 2. And then you would just try to get 1 more win right here. So let's see if we can do that. That's a 13 black. And we got the win. And then you reset because you got the rule of 2. You don't have to double that way because you didn't lose. We're up $110. So you can see you do make money a little bit faster that way because you're betting on less numbers every other spin. And let's go ahead and try it one more time here and see how that works, and then we'll go back to the way that we were doing it. But same thing, the rule of 2, it's just whether you decide to recover, go from 5 to 4 after every win or only after you've lost. And that is a win there. And so we would remove the 26. We'll only do this on a couple because I don't want to confuse you here. And then we'll go back to the normal way of doing it. But the way we started out, we only did this in the recovery process when we lose. And so both those times it worked, and we're back up to 140. But let's go back to the way we started again, which is a little bit safer, I think. And here we go. And this way you just stay at base level and make $10 per spin until you lose, and then you start the rule of 2. Okay. That's a nice $70 win there. We're up $210. Oh my gosh. I accidentally bet it on the street and somehow we hit it. Okay, that was a fortunate accident. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's put this over here. And boy, accidents don't usually turn out that way. Let's go ahead and spin again and see what we get here. Fortunate accidents. Tell me in the comments if you've had any fortunate accidents. I've also seen people do that on slot machines where they accidentally hit $50 instead of $5 on a spin, and then they end up hitting a bonus and make thousands of dollars. But it doesn't always turn out that way. But fortunate accidents can be fun sometimes, I guess. And let's go ahead and spin, and here we go. All right, that's a 19 red. And that's a loss. So again, we double the bet. We don't remove one until we win. So let's go ahead and get a win. And then we'll start the rule of 2, but we lost. So we just double up again. Okay, so that's 2 losses in a row. We double up from 100 to 200. That's why this is a $2,000 bankroll. But remember, you can also play this for a lot less. All you have to do is use your basic math skills. And you can divide everything by 10 if you use dollar bets, or you can divide it in half to a $1,000 bankroll if you want to use $5 units. So we're up 110. Now we need to recover and pull that 10 off. And then if we get a win here, we will reset. That will be the rule of 2. If we don't win, we'll double up and go back to 5 double streets. That's a 21 red. And we lost. So we're going to double up and then go back to 5 double streets. So again, you can see, well, now we have 80 on each. So we're going to put 80 on, let's see, it'd be this one right here. And we're going to go back to the start again and spin. And again, this is why you need the $2,000 bankroll. Here we go. I thought I was going to hit that 0 there, but that's a 28 black. That's a win. So now we go ahead and we remove one of those. And if we can get a win here, we'll get the rule of 2, and we will recover. And here we go. Oh my goodness. Just as I'm talking about the zeros, boy, this is really bad luck, but it happens sometimes. And again, you double up, and then you have to go back to 5. So let's see what's on there now. It's 160, so we'll be on this one right here. And these are just different colored chips, but same amount. And 160 on each. We start the rule of 2 again. And for the first time, we're down, so let's get a recovery here. We have to win 2 in a row. And that's a 24 black. Okay, there's 1. So we're going to go ahead now, and we're going to remove the one that just hit. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we're going to spin at 640 total bet and recover. And we'll be right at the 15-minute mark. That's a 9 red. Okay, so we recovered. And you can see we're up $190 after 15 minutes with the rule of 2 from Charles Blackley. Let me know down in the comments if you would make any modifications to this. But I've received a lot of really positive comments from you guys on this one. And I think we just had a rough go with a bunch of zeros there, but still ended up ahead, $190 after 15 minutes. And now let's go ahead and get started with the new system of the day. I can't wait to share this one with you. So let's just jump right and get in and get started and see if we can make more than $190 in the next 15 minutes. Here we go. All right, the time is finally here for the Quiet Confidence Roulette System by Raymond. He says that you will quietly win tons of money and it's low stress, and I'll show you why he says that, and let's get started. So we're going to start with 9 streets, but we're not going to stay with 9 streets. Let's go ahead and just place those here first. You can pick any 9 that you want. And that's a $45 total bet. Again, though, we're not going to stay with 9 streets. We're just going to start with 9 streets. And here we go. Okay, that's a 32 red. Okay, we lost the first one. So what we're going to do when we lose is we're going to go ahead and double up, and we're going to go to 11 streets instead of 9. So you can see on there we have 10 on each. So let's add 10 and 10, and then let's go ahead and spend. And what we're going to do now is, once we get a win, we're going to remove one of those bets. That's a 7 red. All right, that's a $10 win. You can see we're not in session profit, which is the highest profit since we've started. So we remove that street that just hit and spin again. And here we go. That's a 6 black. And that's another win. So now we're at minus $15, definitely not in session profit. So we remove the 4, 5, 6 street. And then spin again. And the reason he calls this Quiet Confidence is because when he loses, he increases the numbers that he bets on, and it really makes him feel like he's going to win the next spin, which is a really good idea. And we're at $15. We're in session profit. And now we're going to restart with any 9 streets that we want. Let's go ahead and pick 9 streets and spin. Okay, we're at $15. And let's see if we can get some wins at base level here. And here we go. That's a 16 red. Okay, and make sure you stick around to see how far we go with these bets. We're up $30 already. Let's reset and spin, and here we go. It's really important to know when it's time to reset, and that's a 6 black, and that's a loss. So again, we go from 9. We double first, and then we go from 9 to 11 streets. So let's do that and spin. Now they have $10 on each instead of 5. Let's go ahead and spin. And that's a 28 black. And see the quiet confidence of knowing that you're probably going to win the next spin after a loss. Raymond says that, and let's go ahead and remove the one that just hit. He says that the thing that can really wreck your confidence when you're playing is if you lose twice in a row with high coverage. So he goes even higher with the coverage when he loses and then works his way back down. Now we did just lose again there at super high coverage, but let's go ahead and just double the bet now. And then we'll see here how many we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that means we need to add one more back in again. But first, let's check and see what we have. There's 20 on each. So we're going to add one more in at 20, and then we're going to go ahead and spin. And so anytime you lose, you go back to 11 streets. Okay? And then that gives you the quiet confidence that you're going to probably win the next spin. And we did. So that's a $20 win. You can see we're minus $85, and that's perfectly okay. And but he says it's so important, and we removed that one to get some wins and get your confidence back after something really bad happens when you're playing roulette. And it helps you get calm and relaxed and start making some money. So now we're at minus 45. We're going to go ahead and remove the 21. So let's go ahead and do that, and then spin again at 180 total bet here with the Quiet Confidence Roulette System by Raymond. Let's get back ahead again here, and that's a 17 black. That's a nice win, and we're up $15, not in session profit, which is the highest amount of profit since we've started. And we're just going to remove that one and spin, and let's see if we can get in that session profit with this spin right here. That's a 9 red. Fantastic. That's an $80 win. Now we are in the session profit at $95, and we restart with any 9 streets that we want. Remember, those are $5 bets, and you can play this any way that you want. And you can definitely do this with a $400 bankroll in dollar units. And let's go ahead and spend. All right, let's see what we get here. That's a 27 red. It's always good to know for people that don't have this much to spend, what they can do if they start with dollar units. That's really important. So let's go ahead and see how many wins we can get at base level. And we're doing really well with this one, and that really did help calm my nerves after we had some bad losses there. So that's another loss right there. Excuse me. So anytime you lose, you go to 11. We double the bet first. So we're going to add $10 on 2 of these, and now we're back at 11 streets. And here we go, and this should give us the quiet confidence that we're probably going to win this spin. However, that's a 36 red. We lost the only one we didn't bet on, and that's okay. So what happens then is you just double the bet. So let's double the bet and spin, and then let's recover and get a new session profit again. Keep adding profit to this, and that's a $20 win. So temporarily, we're not in session profit, but we will get back there, and I have pretty quiet confidence, like what Raymond says, that we'll get back there because we have such high coverage. I have a really good calm feeling that we're probably going to win this spin. And that's a 22 black. That's a win. So we're up 15, not in session profit. So we just remove the one that just hit and spin again at 180 total bet. And you're going to have also, you're going to build up huge comp credit playing this way. And that's an 8 black. That's a nice win. We still have really high coverage, so we can have a pretty good feeling inside that we're going to win that next spin. We're up 75 bucks. We're not in session profit, so we're going to remove the 8. And then we're going to spin again right here at 160 total bet. Here we go. Okay, that's a 12 red. That's another win, an $80 win. We're up 155. Let's go ahead and reset back to base level, and let's pick 9 streets again. And let's build it back up. Here we go. Let's see what we get on this one, and that is a 21 red. That's a $15 win there. And we're just going to stay at base level here and keep making profit and until we have a loss. Here we go. That's a 5 red. Another win, and sometimes you're going to get a lot of wins in a row with this. We're already up $185. Let's just keep making money here, and let's see what we get. Okay, that's a 25 red. Okay, we're up $200, and again, sometimes you'll win 5, 10 in a row playing with 9 streets. We haven't done that yet. But the good thing about that is, the recovery process we've really been able to show so far with all these losses. But that's okay. Again, when you lose, you double the bet, and then you make the 2 more streets, which is 11 instead of 9, and you go ahead and spin, and you should have quiet confidence that you're probably going to win this next spin. That's a 6 black. All right, that's a win. We're up 165. Excuse me, and we're going to remove the 6 that just hit, and then let's go ahead and spin. Here we go. Okay, that's a 32 red. That's a nice win. We're up 185. Let's go ahead and remove the 32 now and spin. And let's see what we get here. That's a 30 red. That's a nice win. We're up $215. And let's remove the 30, and we'll try to get one more here. And spin. We're still at pretty high coverage, so I have pretty quiet confidence that we'll probably get the win here, but maybe not. That's a 35 black, and there it is. That's a $40 win. So we're up $255. We're definitely in session profit, and let's pick 9 more streets and start again. Okay, we're up $255. Yeah, we're up $255, and we're back. Actually, I might have left one out there. It looks like that's not a $45 bet. Let me check that here. Either way, we would have lost that one. So I think I only put 8 streets out there. So either way, we double up, and then we get to 11 streets. So since I missed one, we just need to put 3 in. And let's go ahead and do that. And then let's go ahead and spin now that we have 11 streets. And let's get back ahead and establish some new session profit again. That's a 3 red. And you can see by us adding in those the 10th and 11th street, that's what caused us to win there. We would not have won that if we had not done that. So we're going to take that one out and then spin again. And that's what gave us the quiet confidence that we needed to win that next spin. And but then we hit a 0, of course. But that's okay. We're just going to double up. That's why we have a $2,000 bankroll on this one. You can use a $400 bankroll if you use dollar units. And we should have the quiet confidence that we're going to win the next spin. And we did. So we're up 165. We're just going to remove that. And even with that big loss early, we should be able to recover and get a new session profit. So let's do it. And I'm really liking the way that this does make you feel calm after you have a big loss. But look at these zeros. My goodness. Okay, so we're going to have to double up again. This is why you need the $2,000 bankroll. Also, too, you remember, anytime you lose, you always go back. To 11 streets. So let's go ahead and do that. Sorry about that, guys. And let me make sure we have the same. So there's 40 on each. Let's make sure we put 40 in on these next 2. And here we go. Okay, so we're back. Anytime you lose, you go back to 11 streets after you double and make sure they all have the same amount on them. That is a 4 black. And again, we have really quiet confidence that we're probably going to win that next spin. And Raymond says that the thing with this one is that, and we'll remove that 4, that losing 2 in a row with high coverage is really stressful and can make you really worried that something bad's going to happen. But look at that. We just lost 2 in a row with just that. So now we have to double up one more time. And my goodness. Okay. So we have 80 on those. So let's go ahead and put 80 on this one. And okay. So let's go ahead and spin. And let's make sure, yep, we have enough in our bankroll. Let's get a win, and let's start peeling these off and get back in session profit again. And I hope that doesn't hit the 0. My goodness, we've had zeros out the crazy amounts. So that's an $80 win. We're at minus 295. But I have pretty quiet confidence that we're going to start winning now. We have super high coverage. So let's do it. And let's get it back. And here we go. That's a 13 black. Okay, that's a 160 win. And we're going to take that 13 out. It's not going to take too many more wins to get us back in session profit, even though that was pretty catastrophic there. But let's get it back. That's a 19 red. Okay, that's a 240 win. We're up 105. We need one more win to get us back in session profit, I believe. So let's go ahead and do that. And spin. We still have high coverage, so we have a good feeling that we're probably going to win this spin, but no guarantees. That's a 23 red. And we got it. So now all of a sudden we're at $425. So sometimes with this system, you actually get way further ahead when you lose. Obviously, we don't want a bunch of losses, though, because we want it to be as safe as possible, and we want it to be low stress. But it's good that you could see, what happens if you do have a bunch of losses in a row with 11 streets. It doesn't usually happen, though. and that's a $15 win. We're up 440, and let's spin. But it's nice to see that if you do have something crazy happen, that actually you can come out with more profit than before. And that's another good win there. We're up $455, and let's rebet and spin. Here we go. Okay, that's a 9 red. And I do agree with Raymond. It is stressful if you're betting high coverage and you lose 2 in a row with almost all the numbers covered. So by bumping it up to 11 streets when you lose, it does make you feel like you're probably not going to lose the next one. It can still happen, but it's not very likely. And we're at 485. Let's rebet and spin. That's a 21 red. There we go, and we're at $500 now. Let's rebet and spin. And you should be able to get lots of wins in a row with 9 streets once you get on a roll. Let's see how that works for us, and that's a 23 red. Okay, now we're at 515. Let's rebet and spin. Again, we start with 9, go to 11 when we lose, and then peel off the bets until we establish new session profit, which is the highest profit since we started. So we just lost that one, so we double up, and then we add 2 more in at 10 each, which is what the other ones are at. And we should have a good feeling, a nice quiet confidence that we're going to win this next spin. And we did. That's a 22 black. Okay, so we'll start peeling them off now. Let's peel off the 22 and spin. And we'll get back over $500 profit again. That's a 14 red. All right, that's a good win. We're at 500 now. We were a little bit over that, so let's get another win here before we go back to base level here. And let's see what we get. That's a 27 red, even though it tried to hit the 00. But that's a win. And after 15 minutes of play with Quiet Confidence by Raymond, we made $530 profit. So this is the winner for today. But let me know what you guys think of both these systems down in the comments. And I really appreciate all the great systems you guys have been sending in. It's fantastic to see that you guys are working so hard on this, and I just love the process of searching for the best roulette system each and every day. I hope you're enjoying that with me, and if you are, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep growing this community of people that really love roulette. I think it's a lot of fun, and I hope you guys do as well. And this is the Roulette Master, and have a great day, everybody.